Well, Avatar 2, The Way of the Water, finally appeared on our screens 13 years after the first film. Not quite the 30-year wait of Maverick, but still, long enough. And the big question on everybody's lips is, was it worth the wait? Now that's a good question, and not quite a straightforward answer. It all depends what you want from a film. If you're looking for some highbrow, well-written dialogue for these Smurfs, then you're going to be disappointed. Are you looking for a brand new story and an antagonist? If so, you'll be disappointed. Are you looking for a plot that isn't filled with contrivances and retcons? If so, you'll be disappointed. However, are you looking to escape your miserable existence and get lost in another world for over 3 hours, where your eyes will be bedazzled and your mind blown with the special effects on offer with this movie, while a strong and wholesome sense of family is played through this film? If that's a yes,
you're goddamn right,
then this might be the movie for you. Avatar 2 is set straight after the first. We follow Jake and Neytiri not long after the events where we saw the humans removed from the world and sent back to Earth. Jake and Neytiri start a family and end up having 2 boys, 1 girl, another girl who is what seems to be the Immaculate Conception from Sigourney Weaver's Avatar.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
And, Spider, basically an annoying little fucker who is a human.
Fuck off.
As their family is growing, and Jake and Neytiri go on a date night one evening, Jake spots a bright star in the sky that doesn't look right. And he is right, for that is not a star. That is a spaceship's dethrusters. Oh my god, it's the humans, they're back. I mean, what did you expect? You live on an absolute gold mine of a moon with the largest unobtainium source known to man. You think they weren't going to come back and rob that?
What are you, fucking stupid?
Anyway, they come back with bigger and better technology that can build anything in half the time. Buildings, stations, vehicles, train tracks. And within a few years, the city has been built, along with all the mining routes as well. At this point, we see Jake with raiding crews under his control, trying to disrupt the humans' works and robbing them of their weapons. Obviously, this is very annoying for the humans, so they need someone to kill Jake. Up steps Miles Quaritch. But wait a minute, Rivers, wasn't he killed in the first movie by a great big fucking set of arrows? Why yes, dear viewer, he was. But unbeknown to us, the technology was actually there to download his consciousness onto a hard drive in case of death so he could be re-uploaded later. Now, they failed to mention this in the first film because, let's be honest, it would have been pretty fucking handy if they had done that to Jake Sully's brother in the first film. I mean, if they had, the first movie would have finished with, "And all indigenous life was killed, and the humans raped the lands of unobtainium." The end.
Not a great plan.
However, let's imagine for a minute, they didn't think Jake Sully's brother needed that, and it was a thing. We see Quaritch's consciousness uploaded into an avatar so he can lead other jarheads who have their own avatars as a kill team to take Jake Sully out. And I can understand why they went down the avatar route of this, because Stephen Lang and Frank Buffet are really looking their ages at the moment, and Stephen Lang isn't the tank that he was in the first film. Quaritch and his crew go out looking for Sully and capture his kids. Jake and Neytiri come to the rescue, but Spider gets taken by Quaritch. Jake makes the ultimate sacrifice and denounces himself as being the head of the tribe so that him and his family can flee, believing that Quaritch and the humans won't go after his tribe. They fly for hundreds of kilometres away until they find a seafaring tribe that will take them in. But for them to be one of the tribe, they need to learn the way of the water, like what you did there, Cameron. This is when Act 2 basically becomes a team movie, and we see the kids, more so than Jake and Neytiri, get to grips with the new tribe. You know, new kids trying to fit in as children would do back here on our world. And it's interesting to try and see them fit in because they were children of the land and partly the air. But because they've come from the land and this tribe are seafaring, there's quite a few physiological differences. Like the sea tribe have thicker tails and thicker arms that act like fins to help them propel through the water better. You know, and these kids go through the same processes as Jake did in the first film, getting to grips with their seahorses, for want of a better term, to get around on. And also the old Immaculate Conception seems to have a way with nature and the fish and the mammals in the sea. We also see the kids go through love and bullying and how they protect each other. So Act 2 is basically developing the characters of these kids, as we get to see the eldest one is the sensible protector, the younger boy is the black sheep of the family, although good intentioned, old Immaculate Conception has a bond with Pandora that slowly develops, and the youngest, well, she's just a cute little blue girl following her older siblings. The final act sees Quaritch catch up with the Sullys and we have a battle between the humans and the Na'vi, basically Avatar 1 but on water. Oh yeah, and the big money maker for the humans this time isn't unobtainium that they were after in the first film, it is now brain juice from whales that can sing and write poetry and shit. Don't ask me, I didn't write this shit.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
So, what did I like? Well, firstly, the look of the movie. I'm not going to lie, this blew me away, and I didn't think it could. Now, I don't know if it's due to the fact that I've watched so much dog shit based CGI films from Marvel over the last few years that I just didn't think anyone in Hollywood was up to it. The CGI was flawless, but what blew me away was the underwater scenes. They were fucking incredible. I mean, you literally could have had David Attenborough narrating it and you would have been convinced that you were watching Blue Planet with some fucked up looking fish. Honestly, I cannot overstate enough how good this looked. And if I'm right in what I heard about this film, it only got made because Cameron, with help, had to develop the tech to be able to create these underwater scenes. It was off the fucking chain. The music. If you've seen the first film, you know what I'm talking about. Just like the first film, we had Mr. Franklin as the composer, the same guy who did the Titanic, the first Avatar. It's all very beautiful, very powerful sounding throughout the film, and it really added to the atmosphere and drama in it. The story. You know, to get a film right and for people to enjoy it, a film doesn't need to have a complicated story. And this is as basic as it gets. A man, fearful that his family could be hurt or killed, takes him away to hide and start a new life. However, his old life and consequences are never far behind and one day he has to face it again. See, nothing complicated, but because it revolves around a family and the film gives you time to introduce them all and develop their characters, you start to care about their survival in the end.
Gay!
No woke bullshit. Despite the bullshit comments James Cameron had been coming out with as this film was released, such as toxic masculinity is bad and I cut 10 minutes of gunplay because gunplay is bad, I can only assume he said this shit just to appease any activists out there because there was fuck all wokeness. I mean, there were probably minimal amounts. It was a bit like Maverick. It was refreshing to see a strong, powerful male lead making the calls in his family and leading them. It could have been very easy for Cameron to put Neytiri front and centre, but he didn't, you know. She did what she was told.
Sir, you're out of order.
Not to say she was weak, far from it. She was still a strong and capable character who had her own strengths and agency, and in the final act, showing a bloodlust nobody would want to get in the way of. And for that, I take my hat off to Cameron, because he's shown in this film you can have a strong, powerful male figure and a strong, powerful female figure that do not take agency away from each other, but show how their strengths together work so well.
Goddamn right.
Hollywood has a habit of making women act like men and men acting like little bitches to show women in a strong light, and all it does is make the audience turn away because it isn't true to life. Character building. I personally thought they did a good job at this, more so for the children, and I'm guessing they did it because the children will take the lead in the upcoming films where Jake and Neytiri might take more of a backseat. It's probably why the film was so long as well, but I've got to be honest, in 3 hours and 10 minutes, I thought it went quick. I was engaged throughout the whole film, so it didn't feel like a drag to me. What didn't I like? The big elephant in the room, the dialogue. And it is a real shame because Cameron is obviously a meticulous, methodical man who looks at details when it comes to this project. But for this film, it's like he let an art student from California write it. It was
one big pile of shit.
For the most part. For example, at one point, one of the kids sees something cool and says like, "Ah, sick!" What? What the fuck? Blue aliens on a moon will not talk like Californian children because at the end of the day they're fucking tribes people and that is not how tribes talk to each other. Spider. This kid was just fucking annoying. I don't know if it was just because he grunted and screamed like a feral child a lot, and to be honest he was only in there as a plot device for Quaritch, and to be honest wasn't really needed. The film would have been better off without him. Certain details. There were things in this movie that I saw and thought, why have you done this? And would that actually happen? And who would fucking do that? The biggest thing for this was Quaritch's men and women's avatars that had tattoos. Now, this is fucking retarded for two reasons. Firstly, you ain't going to blend in with the indigenous peoples if you have tattoos designed on Earth. Secondly, I don't think any tattooist would be allowed to work on these avatars worth millions of fucking pounds. I can only imagine they did it so you could recognise each one of them a bit easier. But still, I thought it was fucking stupid. I think it's safe to say I was one of the people who enjoyed this film. I know there were a lot of critics who panned it and basically said it absolute rubbish, poor writing, regurgitated story, blah blah blah. But for me, I took this film the same way I took the first movie. It was a bit of escapism from my mind, a place where I could venture to a different world and see blue aliens deal with similar issues to us in a beautiful and almost magical landscape. This was a feast for your eyes that no critic can deny. And at the end of the day, this wasn't an intellectual masterpiece. This was aimed at families and kids. So Mark Twain it ain't. I was happy for the most part to leave my common sense at the door and just enjoy the visual spectacle that unfolded in front of me. And to be honest, at the end I felt a little emotional for Jake Sully's family and what they've been through, and I found myself already looking forward to the third instalment. Is this a film I will keep revisiting? I don't think so. I'll no doubt watch it again when it's available to watch at home, but after that I can't really see myself going back to it much. It was a film to watch in the cinema for sure, and in 3D, and for that I'm glad I went to see it. If you haven't seen it and want some beautiful visuals and escapism, go see it at the cinema before it's removed from theatres. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification button.